Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. We're going to close on out with our lovely people who don't grow emotional intelligence. Well, yeah, they lack depth and they are undesirable and uninteresting to talk to. However, we don't kick out anybody from the herd, so please remember that. We all know that mastering to be who you are takes your volition, and some people want to be the facades of their self. Okay, so for those who are of our 5D collective frequency and you do mindfulness living and loving and spirituality, or one or the other. Okay, so with that self help, personal development, you are loving to put mindset, the inner growth mindset into practice, and then the mindfulness practices also of embodying your whole heart. Okay, so for us, the frequencies, full moon, new moon, all that is happening on the planet is something our embodied brain is adapting to because you've welcomed and or are welcoming all the fragments of you. And so you're not projecting any unresolved trauma, charges, none of that. Okay, so you don't lack the emotional intelligence. That's why we've been talking about the unimpressiveness and the undesirability of those who lack emotional intelligence, because they also then will lack mental and physical intelligence. Their pursuit is not of mindfulness living or loving. They have a pain point they drag around. They have shame, blame, fault, revenge. They don't have depth because they don't put the emotional body back online, because they don't regain those first 3 years that are very important of their life and completely undo the unhealthy self-worth and unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms. That involves an adaptive child part and or pattern of behavior, maladapted as well. So between addictions and or inner critic, outer critic, there's a lot of different ways. But people who are doing that, which is Pinocchio's island, they lack depth and they lack intellect in the way of having a good time and also expanding together. So we don't want to waste life with people who are not putting their best foot forward. In the year 2024, true lovers, partners, those are all people who do own, observe, witness, narrate their own sense of self. So the solo self, the core narrative, relational self, it's earned, secure attachment. And if they're on a journey to that earned, secure attachment, they enjoy having the opportunity, therefore, to interact with us from open, heart to heart conversations, and to notice when they're bringing into the room their unhealthy, dysregulated life patterns and or narratives that come from a push-pull from home and or from whatever it is that took place. So actively disengaging from projecting means you actively notice yourself when you're bringing it up. And so you don't bring it into the room. And that equals I do not have lack of emotional intelligence, desire, pursuits. I do. So when we have the ones who are not looking to pursue emotional intelligence, we have a person, am I not decent enough to be saluted? Found it hard to believe the first years of life means shit. It's not my childhood. It's not any of this. I'm not doing anything. Okay, or simply put, you know what? They're trying to keep us locked up. The new healing therapy people, because they're a bunch of, prisoners or prisons of emotions. I'm just teasing with words, but you get what I'm saying. My regular listeners and watchers, they know what I'm talking about. So, mastering the art of being yourself is not an art as much as it is an in-depth journey. First, the whole self is what you have. No more disowned parts. Your parts are all welcomed. And if they're not, you have eliminated from your vocabulary the shaming, the blaming, the faulting, the revenging words, inner critic, outer critic, and you've replaced with I choose land of neutrality, and I put into practice 5 things to disengage from shaming, blaming, faulting, revenging, and or inner or outer critic, or any of that which was part of my, you identify this no more. This replaces this. This replaces this, and you're the choo-choo train that can, because you're going to get over that hump. Okay, so healthy self-worth people hang out with healthy self-worth people. The ones who are desiring it also. The ones who are not. So again, why are they undesirable? Because on, off, on, being, that's why. It's completely It's not confusing to me whether it's an avoidant or it's an ambivalent or it's a disorganized attachment category human being. Not confusing. Now, what is heartbreaking is one, finding out that you are invisible to the point of invisibility, even without those categories. Let's bring in attachment wounds, abandonment, rejection. What else was there? Humiliation. Perfection is one of them. Shame. I need my notes. But here's where bring in my facade friend. So it's very heartbreaking, yes, to have spent hours and hours and hours pouring your soul and your heart out to someone and then realizing that everything you said, poof, magically doesn't exist. Oh, it's not only my facade friend, for example. Okay, so these are the things. It's not post-traumatic growth. So for your host here, some people, they define the very same experiences with that. And in fact, if you tell them about your experiences, then they think and they assume you have trauma. That's why someone, you have twin flames, you have trauma. That's why you're polyamorous. I don't have trauma. I have emotions because I use my prefrontal, not traumatic, in my body. You're just lying because you don't want to be emotional. Again, thank you, Cusco, for letting me know what I feel. So when people don't believe that you know how to use your brain, you leave it alone because it's made very well aware, the fancy lady in a suit, what she thinks of people who show no emotion and why she thinks it's dangerous. It's because she believes that her way of doing it is emotional. I know, for the smart therapists have taught me, and then I know how my embodied brain works. And you know what I love more than anything? When I meet smart people who hear and see me and then they watch me and they're like, you know what? Okay, you don't know suffering. Got it. Great. But then, don't talk about it. I say, yes, I don't. I, in fact, talk about the opposite, about those of us who love to do emotions because we don't suffer them. Do not. The ones of us who don't suffer emotions, we have plenty of equanimity to give, which is why the individuals who want to project and to continue, again, think of us as not emotional. Little do they know how empowering it is to be in our bodies, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, so that you can understand and then be motivated. Well, no, you motivate yourself, but Sadhguru motivates you in different ways. And he's a guru. I'm a human who says, yeah, personal development, self-help, it works for the little choo-choo train that did make it over the hump. And anybody who uses, hey, emotions, what's up? Oh, look, I got a wave. I'm going to go left and right. No, I'm not. I'm going to go right in the middle because I got my prefrontal. Hey, come on down. We ain't in physical danger. What's up? Window welcomes emotions. Come on. Let's expand its window. That's how it works. So we have depth. Those who lack it, uninteresting. In fact, if there's one thing that you get, surprise, it's, oh, I thought you knew how to stay on. Shit, my bad. I'm so sorry. Oh, what did I think? That you would know how to be a consistent, unconditionally loving, energetic, always on human being. My mind must be somewhere. Yes, you know where? Right here. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to live, and he loves to laugh, and he loves to love, and he loves to always be on, and that is what I always am. And I'm not joking. All emotions, just in a good way, by choice, as a young adolescent. That's when you make your choice points, You go from the attachment system and looking for alloparenting figures from your home, which I have them. And then you go to your social system, and I had a teenage boyfriend, and then my friends, and we all know how that went. Yes, I learned how to make it on my own because of my God. No, I learned that people are afraid of confident women, and that they don't know how to tell the truth. And I mean, I'm sure confident men, but I'm going to let the men talk for themselves because they've always told me, hey, don't talk for us. I won't talk for you. I'm not a man. I'm a woman. I'm proud. I'm proud to be a woman, and I'm proud to be one that doesn't think of wedding bells because really, you're not going to get married to me if you can't always be on. I don't want you. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You're not the optimized version of the human being that you could be. And I'm not joking. FYI, neuroscientists have explained how this is very accessible. So please, one, let me pause. If you are upset with me, I thank you for stopping by. Please don't. Emotionally intelligent people, we have a good time. I'm not kidding right now. The ones that, that means you like the Zen master more. It's fair and square. Anyone who's used to using their temporal junction to ruminate doesn't like me, because it can't be that easy. You moody somewhere. No, I actually disengaged from venting a long time ago, and nobody wanted to support me because they said, but you're human. You're not Jesus or Buddha. I didn't know we had to make it about Jesus or Buddha. But if really I must share, Sadhguru shared with me and others, we can all be Jesus, Buddha, and him. And I said, yes, Sadhguru, I already am here with you. And actually, it's not wine, it's called bliss. But hey, you got wine, I got bliss, and high five. And we're both talking about the same thing. It's called integration of brain, restorative embodiment. The lady doesn't know how to do it. I do. It's why when people reject us, we know it's going to be okay. My teenage boyfriend, a month after he left me, I'm like, she did me a fucking favor. I didn't curse at the time. I was just like, thank goodness. I'm so happy. And from that moment, though, what is it, Robert? Determined. As he points out, Lisa, what is it? Our body builds. What are your thoughts? Yeah. So you can tell why every year Maria personally has grown more. Oh, blah dee, oh, blah da, life goes on, huh? Na, 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 life goes on. Now, does that mean that we don't have awareness of those who are in the group of people in our lifetime, like now, that has had, well, let me think. No, actually, but let me use my facade friend for a minute. Remember, as those 5 years I wasn't talking to him, I'm going to use him because all I need is one human being. He represents all of those, whether it's a man or a woman or they, that has low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive manners, lacks completely healthy boundaries, and does withdraw. Now, he doesn't withdraw from me, but that's because he's my friend, and we've always been straightforward, meaning he's an asshole, quote unquote. I don't tell him that anymore because I think he gets offended, but he has always done things for his own gain and purpose and da 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 da. Now, when we went through our little patch up, that's why things got to be consistently, okay, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. And again, I tell him, I talk about him. He knows it. Sometimes I worry just in case he's gotten old and a little bit offended. But I know how to apologize, and I know he'll forgive me, because that's the type of friendship we have. As we stick together like two peas in a pod, which is why I can use him. Because, see, okay, so the thing is, I don't like to create boxes, but if a person lacks the emotional, mental, and physical intelligence and desire to pursue it all, yes, they lack depth. They lack to want to be their whole self. They don't heal their 0 to 8-year-old. So I got a child in the room with broken stuff going on, unpicked up, and then your teenage version of Cusco. So my friend and I, when we begin hanging out, the part that I don't always tell is that we had known each other since we were 15. He had been left after 14 years in a committed, monogamous relationship. I'd already been made single. Thank goodness for me. Again, because seriously, if you're not emotionally intelligent, you're going to become uninteresting as you go on and off, on and off. And as a polite human being, I won't be able to really do much. But luckily for me, I won't get texted back, which is a good thing. So yeah, when people choose silence, I had figured out something was up with silence, and then I was like, yeah, it's a blessing. Like, it's a complete blessing, because they don't care. I don't care. We shared a moment. We shared whatever, it's all good. Now I found out that there might be something not positive for the men, but I mean, again, a long time ago, so I feel bad for the men. I personally have enjoyed my choices completely, and the one that I didn't enjoy, I still enjoyed learning to reconfirm with me. I know all about Maria. That's how it works when you are yourself. You don't be like, oh, I should change something. So, was spot on here, 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 here. Oh, I did mention I'm an embodied feminine. I'm not the other end of the coin, and I'm not distorted, and I have my own masculine. As a mystic, I'm talking to you right now, not as a person, even though as a person, basically, I'm a whole 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and child, and my 60, they're all sleeping. I'm the owner of this. That's called the prefrontal, and this is what empowerment looks like. And then the emotional part is you're not pretending to be happy. You're actively fulfilled. And if you're serious about emotional, mental, physical intelligence and mindfulness, then you're going to enjoy this because you're like, yeah, I want it, because you're going to know it's possible. It's not new. So I just try to make sure to spell it out. Some people, again, a lot of stragglers I've met throughout the years. I respect all differences, but I'm here for the ones who want to inspire to be their infinite higher human conscious potential, because being yourself is that. Just so we're clear. Being yourself, not me, being you. Yeah. Unless there's some reason why your brain and your embodied brain is not capable, it's not for me to say, it's for some neuroscientist, neurobiologist, expert. I know who to reach out to. They will be able to tell us that. And other than that, you can do it with your will and then your choo-choo train. And that's it. It says, Zen Master, please set aside. So, my friend, 14 months, he gets broken up with. I'm going out with friends, having a good time. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm single. And I'm beginning. No, I wasn't. Not yet. Pause that for future. I'm not yet beginning. I'm just having a good time. I'm done with my master's. I am beginning to work and all these things. Okay, so my friend has another friend, his only other friend outside of me. Like friend. He hasn't built secure attachment figures. You have 5 that you build throughout your years, so it's not in the lack of the norm. The norm is that your family and then 5 more at the very bare minimum, if not at least 1. That's why everybody has at least that one person that you would want to share your life with. It's a mammalian heritage. It's also for survival, actively to reproduce and to stay alive. So like there's actual physiological evidence for that, which is not lacking the love sphere, because love is the oxytocin gene hormone, but also you create a bond with a person when they're deeply in love with who you are as a person, and not the I don't like this, and they rip shit out that they don't enjoy, or they put in their little yuckiness, and then they begin to make some kind of that's for the people though. But for those of us who are unconditionally loving, we don't do any of that. So my facade friend, I take all of it. It's a facade friend, meaning I know I'm dealing with his child parts, and all of his parts. They're not shadow, they're not unwanted, they're all great. That's how it works when you don't have an ego and a self and a you. That's like, oh my God, I want him to be like me. I don't want him to be his own little Merkaba. Instead, my friend's his own little Merkaba. And that's why, whether he's a karma one or dharma, doesn't matter. He's still beautiful. And every year he might do the same thing, and I will do the same thing. No, I'll do different, but he might think, yeah, he'll think I'm doing the same thing. That's why from the outside, it's not what you're going to notice. So, okay. So long story short, I find out from his friend that he's vomiting. I ask his friend, well, have him come out. No, he doesn't want to come out. I invite him out. He comes out. I see them playing little roosters. Now I know why the friend didn't invite him. So they're competitive, which is really bullshit. I was like, what the fuck? But they're not the only young mid-20-year-old men who are finally getting out of that adolescent brain that are being like that. I see the women being like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused. No, I'm not. I'm just wondering what the fuck's going on. I didn't really think anything of it because it's none of my business if people stay their teenage version. I'm attachment trauma informed, and now I know that they did, which is why I'm like, okay. So anytime I meet Cusco, I'm just thinking of any facade that I've ever met, which means they are uninteresting, unreliable. They don't know how to talk about things in a way of novelty. And so when you meet empowered people, smart, you'll know. That's why we're here. They're all over the place. So I love my sciences, my 5D mystics, then my people that I meet out and where I hang out and all of that, my empowered peeps that I have in my community. My facade friends are also included. They're different because we don't share expanding on the level of, where humans are going, all that, but still. So, as he's coming out, I give him my 2 cents and advice. We've been going out regularly, seeing each other for coffee, everything, anytime to help him get through this. So I'm being a friend. And my advice goes on deaf ears, but that's not the only thing. I get lied to for an entire 7 days. I get something specific hidden in a very specific way. And then I also am in an interaction, socially speaking, and this reminded me of my one incident with my boyfriend, which some would say right here is where those wheels go around. Okay, where all my friends, they saw it. my teenage boyfriend, that he cheated on me, but none of them told me anything except for one person. And then I went to ask all the other people that I considered my friends, why didn't you tell me? All have fear in their mouth. And one person said the only reason you know of it is because that other person wants to basically get in your pants. This is how this woman put it. I was like, no, that's not true. Why would he have to have motive? Couldn't he just want to tell me? No, because no, people don't just do it. Okay, whatever. That's your opinion, not mine. And it's my friend, not yours. So this, for example, all these behaviors, they're petty. And any human being who's a grown person in their mid-20s and growing up, by the time you're in your 30s, if you haven't moved past this, people, FYI, I mean, just know that they have unhealthy mannerisms because they're adaptive children, meaning that they don't know how to regulate in their prefrontal. They don't know how to manage moods. They don't know how to manage emotions. They don't know how to talk. It's not good or bad. You don't have to teach people manners. You do you. You behave as you. And in fact, I personally have not had any issue with my facade friends because I have healthy boundaries. All they say is you're not flexible. And I say, well, I guess not. I just know what I want in life and how I'm going to spend my 24 hours. So, you call it inflexible. That's fine with me. I'm not going to change it. That's how healthy boundaries work when you learn from the experts. So none of this healthy boundary is an anomaly, which is why I don't even like using the word. It's not a healthy boundary. I just say, hey, I'm Maria. What's up with you? What's up with you? So we have conversations. I learned about concepts. I explained them to you because you're learning how to put into practice mindfulness mindset aspects that will lead you to understanding what you're dealing with within your own self and with others. Okay, so the technical verbiage for me is so that you can understand you and others, not to use it in a room, which is what instead other individuals, they don't even get, I think, told this by their therapist. Hey, don't, healthy boundaries doesn't mean you go telling someone they're toxic, they're narcissist. That's not what this is. Healthy boundaries means you allow yourself to speak. And in fact, a good therapist will walk you through something, or even a person who's a life coach, mindfulness coach, whatever words you want to give to me, mentor is the one that I use, but that supports you. Or even for the Ask Maria opinionated calmness, it's I share with you support and organize information, potentially characterological aspects, but we're not doing, let me label you. Nobody gets closed in a box by good therapists. Nobody gets told you're behaving with, when people are weaponizing these words, using language, some people, and what I've noticed is there are those who prefer to use technical verbiage. They are people who are not using their left and right together, is how I'm going to share with you my 2 cents. Because they're not an inner child adult yet. If they were, they wouldn't want to use boxed up language with you. They wouldn't need to. It's like when you are beginning to work in a job. Okay, and you will use words, but you don't know how to do all of them. I'm an online marketer, so for me there were a couple of things that it started to include SEO. Well, also, I don't remember all of it, but long story short, I remember including it. I wasn't familiar with all of them until I began working with an agency, and then I began to do all of that, which I had listed in my CV. Now I know how to do every single one of those technical pieces of work, and I don't use technical verbiage with my clients because I don't find it necessary, because I'm working with people who are business owners. And if ever I have people who are that into jargon, I know I got superficial individuals, which means I got trending topic people, which means I got the masses, which means I got whatever that is, like that docu-shitty thing that came out on TV once, and I thought my colleagues were actually people who knew what quality was, and I go to watch it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I watched people who think of themselves as smart and not manipulable run off of the platforms, and I'm like, And it made me think of college humor when I was like, hey, guess what? Announcement. Oh, no, some didn't even announce. And they just disappeared. Like, what the fuck went on? What is this? So that's called being reactive. Now, it's funny because I can say that there are those who think of me as reactive, when it comes to finding out some information. And I love having that double. Let me bring Maria into the mix so that we can understand all of us aren't perfect. All of us can do this shit somewhere. I don't do it with TV or any books or any of pieces of information or any of that. And then knowing, y'all, we're going to run back on, which is what they did, because that's what you're going to do. So with that, it was not valuable information. Maybe I got not even, no, I didn't get basically almost anything of value from this docu thing. Actually, I found it completely biased, tainted, fear-mongering, horrible, and it could have been done way better had they avoided to do what's brainwashing, like with the cigarettes that they did. And I remember telling a lady that they brainwashed. Well, no, but smoking really is bad for you. Yes, it is, but you don't go walking crippled because of smoking cigarettes. There's like some of these ads that they make a person not be able to walk out of the bed. And like that, people think marijuana is less harmful, and I don't know which one is true, but I definitely know what isn't true and how exaggeration works. And I don't appreciate when the TV doesn't give a shit about creating educated human beings. And please don't bring in the conspiracies. Okay, so that's the other part. I learned from journalism in my bachelor's years what TV became, what bleeds leads. Very, very uninteresting, undesirable. I want to see it changed. I would love to see journalists who care about what they do in a way of saying, hey, we want authenticity, which, by the way, I'm starting to see on YouTube and anywhere else. So I'm sure that the media is also there. I just don't watch it as much. Okay, so it's unimpressive to see anybody who lacks intelligence on the emotional, mental, and physical scale. It's not something fancy prancy. It's something very direct, straightforward, and the only ones who actually don't believe in this, well, let me again leave that to the side, because they got some mustard on their chin. They don't know they followed a 7 to 14 charming. We won't bother letting them know, will we? No. Even if we did, let me bring in my friend. When someone lacks the capacity to be their inner child adult, so when you lack the capacity to be your own mother, your own father, your own feminine, open heart, body, your own masculine, open mind, integrated brain. Here's our semantics. So the great therapists, the good ones, know how to tell you why restorative embodiment is your intelligence, not the fancy lady or man in suit. And believe me, pretty sure they just think that they know what the fuck they're talking about, as enamored with themselves and when focused people. They're not connected to pure consciousness, but they're definitely connected to something else. And they learn information. That's what I love about bringing it all. Spirituality, and sciences. Remember, they're just human beings, and they're there because they're there. That's it. We don't need a story. But if I have to share with you a story, I can't, right? Okay, so we are all star-born, and we're all the eternal child. We all serve a purpose, by the way. So all kidding aside, they have people who follow them because they resonate. Okay, so every group resonates. That's the part of what makes this whole story of lack of self-awareness sad, because they're not people who are their whole self. They're paused. They could have more of what they are, but they're afraid. This time I'm not kidding. They're afraid because it's painful and it's torturous, and they're fearful. So they can be healed, though. That's why they they don't want necessarily. We get to stand and be the ones who walk a walk and talk a talk, like Jesus taught us, and God, for the ones of us who come from that. Some come from yoga and spirituality with Sadhguru alone. Some come with Dr. Daniel Siegel and secure attachment and integration of the brain and alone. It all says the same thing. Our humanity comes when you are a whole self. Your depth comes when you're you, not when you're half of you. And that's basically it. But it is not something easy for the ones who have the broken stuff. But that's the same people who come to people like us, and they will actually mistrust, but also project their very unkind behaviors towards us. Now, this is the part of casting a stone that an empowered human being will be very much in their ventral vagal state, like this, allowing themselves. So my friend, back to my story, I get lied to. I get put in a similar position. Now I'm at a table and I'm presented with the same, and I already know out of the two individuals I'm talking to, what one is doing, taking ownership their way, awesome, because again, they're being themselves. I'm talking to my friend who's now saying, they made me do it. Did they put a gun to your head and make you do it? No. Okay, so why aren't you taking ownership? They didn't make you do it. You made a conscious choice. Take ownership. You chose to do it. You didn't have to do it. And at the end of the day, though, my friend is the one who had the consistency of behaving in a specific way where it brought me to say, I'm done. I'm not talking to you at all. And that is what happened for a whole 5 years. Now, when the time came, it was because he was in the shithole, and this was where our planet was going through its beautiful transformation and a lot more. And I think it was like the second wave of whatever's, but I have a timeline. I have to go get it. So, long story short, when he came back around, we had 2 days of very intense, beautiful conversation. And then I find out about 2 or 3 years later that he didn't hear anything that I said. So my friend and I share a beautiful friendship. It's going to be forever. He's in fact in my future. Remember, those of you who regularly tune in, he's in my in my future. He's it's hilarious of how I found out who he is and who gets us. I'm not going to share all of it. I'll wait till we have our community, although I've shared it before, but it's just hilarious when you have these downloads. I love them. I told him about it. He's like, yep, sounds like me. I'm like, yep, guess who your friend is? And guess what he does? And guess what an asshole? And guess who the other assholes are on our ship? So it's hilarious. He knows all of the people that are going to be there, except for, two people that he doesn't know because he doesn't know them at all. And they're random from other places. But anyways, so long story short, the part about why I'm using him as the story is because he doesn't hold on to who I actually am in the sense of what I told him as what is important. So that part is what takes away from the depth of the experience, because even if it's a safe haven, secure-based connection, meaning you can share everything and anything, I got a flag in the wind, there's no flag post. And I got a flag in the wind, though, who wants to tell me that I'm a flag in the wind, And so, yeah, that's anyone who lacks emotional intelligence, mental, physical, to become their whole self is going to lack depth, is going to come in and out, is going to do things that you're going to find are mismatched to the essence that you are. If you're a whole person, of course, that means you own who you are. Observe, witness, narrate. You are able to be yourself. You don't have the lack of self-awareness, accountability, or regulation skills or desires, and you enjoy bringing who you are. So if someone doesn't enjoy all of you, you know how to recalibrate. I've done this and I actually, with my friend, thankfully, I just automatically know how to do it. And in fact, I've had plenty of practice of how to allow myself to process when someone will take something that is part of who I am, make me very well aware of their level of dislike, distaste, disgust, like, you can't be that. I'm like, wow, that's a 3-year-old for you. But that's the part of why it's not personal. I'm sure I have plenty of faces too. I don't notice them, but if somebody tells them to me, I'll take ownership. And if it's something that hurts somebody's feelings, I'll say, I'm sorry. If, on the other hand, it's somebody who's being passive aggressive, I will allow myself to be a person who can communicate effectively and then maintain my ground when it comes to that. Am I not decent enough? That's where this is non-negotiable. In the evening that I'm dealing with you, I'm playing the polite grown-up, meaning I will see where I can meet so I can avoid a situation that is unnecessary. So within my healthy boundaries, you're not touching me in a way that's inappropriate. You're simply being basically a bit of a nuisance. I'm going to be able to handle that and be quite okay with it and have a good time. I'm not annoyed, not frustrated. I'm mature. This is the emotional, mental, mature man, woman, or they might they be. They will have a good time. From the spirituality perspective is what probably is more likely than those who are simply in that aspect of, I'm going to say technical and sciences. But then again, it's not true, because if you're meeting the good therapists, they all have it within their soul. They know every human being. It's like Robert Sapolsky with Determined. They didn't choose. No human being chose to have trauma anywhere. None of him. None of us. So they have in their embodiment compassion. Those of us on one end, we have it because we got taught it. I got taught it by Jesus and God. Others will have got it taught from that spirituality. But essentially, it's going to be the same self and external compassion. I'm a human. I'm imperfect and flawed. I don't have anything better to offer you. This is the humble and humility frequency. And see, so that's why it has a very specific out emotion, not threatened, and that's what healthy self-worth sounds like and feels like. And also it is loving, because you will be a mammal who's saying, I understand. I don't need to have them be open or receptive or any of that, because I am mature and mentally, emotionally, and physically with intellect and feelings. But the feelings is one. It's called love, because you're securely attached. You're not scanning yourself and others. So I'm looking at you, and whatever you do, yeah. Are you good? It all depends. I might be making a blank stare for all I know, because actually, in one of the instances, I was seeing faces like that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check in with you. I'm seeing some facial expressions. Do you need me to stop talking about this topic? And it was about mystic stuff, and no, just ignore it. And in fact, here's where I thought of Pat Ogden, because I'm like, this is interesting, because I know they're telling me to ignore it. I believe them. Their left mode is telling me this. I'm completely on board with continuing the conversation. Also, my body, my gut is telling me it's good. But my brain, it's kind of like jokes. I don't get jokes, but I laugh. But then I want to know what's the meaning. And so people explain it to me. In this case, the person, they explain, don't worry, it's nothing. I have to take their explanation for it. And I didn't have anyone that I could say, hey, Pat Ogden, I have a question for you. So this thing happened to me. I'm just wondering, you mind explaining? Or Peter Levine, those are like a couple of the people. Or Stephen Porges. I would have asked him to, hey, Stephen, can you analyze this with me? Because I'm just curious, like, what was this? So anyways, though, the point is that the facial expressions did mean something, but the person who's interacting with me said they don't mean anything and that they're okay. So I checked in with them. Okay, so checking in with people is what you do when you notice anything as an empowered person. If you're not, then you don't do. And your tone is sounding nasty. So anyways, again, empowered people, we're just fun to be around. Join us. Come on. The ones who are not empowered, we get to, be around them and tease them at times and then notice things. But at the end of the day, with the lovely, healthy self-worth, mindfully living and spiritually loving and living, all of it, people, we are going to be back tomorrow with more, since our full moon is here. And so we don't lack depth, and we move into more and more of the relationships with those who want to feel deeply and think deeply, and novelty, as well as creative expression, so new ways. Also those who are reliable and those who are consistent, so they will be desirable because they're always on, not just sometimes, and that's because they know how to navigate their ventral vagal state. So you can always be on, because the button of love is your actual securely attached, your 0-1-year-old, your 3 to 7-year-old, and the freeze of all ages, the flight 11-12, and fight 14-15-16. So all your child parts, they're fast asleep, and when they come up, that reactivity or a bit of charge, you know what's going on. You don't bring it into the room, you have conversations. So you are deep, you talk the truth, you're authentic, and when you have people like my facade friend, you clear it up. And once you've learned about people who basically are not walking to walk and talking to talk, you leave them to their facade, and you understand what areas you're going to recalibrate from if they bring it into the room in a certain way, or you just know that those are their mannerisms. And as long as they respect those healthy boundaries that you have. So like with my friend, as I was saying, I paused us for 5 years, then we picked up friendship, then I realized that they did it again. I yelled at them about it. I'm like, why would you do that? I told you in our conversation, just be yourself. And that's when I found out that everything I said meant nothing. And then I thought about it. I was like, but he seems to not be completely aware of any of this. And I'm like, what is this? And then in time, shortly after I started to get attachment trauma informed, I was like, okay, now I'm okay. Now I got it. Now I know everything that I was noticing with my body, all of me, but not having the technical wording. And I knew already it's not evil, it's not Lucifer, it's not this. No, none of this. It's not a demon. It's none of that. It's immaturity. Pure immaturity, which makes no sense to my brain until it did. And so, yeah, now that we're in this era, the reason that anything IHP is going to roll with the punches is because emotional intelligence is accessible, because so is mental and physical, because people are doing that which is their well-being, and they are the ones who are serious about it. They don't want to do trending topics. They understand the value of being their whole self and the mastering of it, and that's with mysticism or without. So again, uninterested with the ones who lack the depth, but respectful, accepting, loving, humorous, funny, You're just not going to be a partner for sure. No one is going to be living in a house with a person who goes on and off and doesn't take going into being a loving, laughing, living, recalibrating, mindful person. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to be your health, why are you going to talk to me about love? You don't want to do what is a growth journey, why are you talking? So relationships are about us caring, and trauma is relational. To not pass it on means you don't want to bring it forth to others. You're going to get it worked with and healed. And so again, you heal it also with others. The healthy people, healthy self-worth people want other healthy self-worth people. People who want to have the low self-esteem, mannerisms, shame, blame, whatever, they're going to keep hanging out with each other. As partners, friends, we can be friends with a bounty full of people, always within that area. And by the way, when you have healthy boundaries, again, they always are respected. None of my years of friends, I've grown more friends, not less friends. And that's because we accept who you are as you are, and whatever it is that you might bring my way as something that is a Cusco type behavior will be completely, you won't see anything because it's not no emotion. It's I'm non-reactive because I'm empowered, because I'm showing up authentically, and your disdain or dislike or whatever comment will be, I'll hear it. It means this is the mask you're putting on me. If it's something that you find annoying, I'll tell you if I can meet what you're telling me, or I will say, no, I can't. Can't do this. One of my friends, you can't be friends with her because she's dating the guy I'm dating. Okay, number one, my mother doesn't tell me who to be friends with. Two, you're both his lover. He has another girlfriend. He's monogamous, by the way. But three, I won't go telling her our stuff. And four, really, if you don't like this, I totally get it, but I'm not going to not be friends with her, so you can choose if you want to stay friends with me, and I will understand if you do not want to. We stayed friends. That's how healthy boundaries works. It's not, how dare you? How dare you? So the approach definitely matters. Now, here's where I always tell you all stories about my friends and loved ones that you're probably curious about lovers in the sense of those partners. Yes, so since I have twin flames, it's a whole different boat. See, I don't do traditional anything. My last traditional one, when he broke up with me, he said, I thought you would change. It's like, what? And we're family friends. And actually, he gave me my first soul sister, and she introduced me to everything in the mystic land. She knows all my stories. I love her. And her and I have some of the best stories. They're like, oh gosh, people still think it's weird that we're friends. What year do they live in? And then we are like, yeah, anyway, so we have a good time. But my point was, I'm a direct shooter. So yeah, I don't, if you are a potential the one, you're going to hear from me. Now, I did learn in time how to become more and more a direct shooter. So I can thank every single one of those lovely Oversoul members. They're all, mwah. So what you see here, we can thank. But my point is, I don't do wedding bells. And I don't do Oh my God. I need to let him open the door because otherwise he won't let me. He won't stay. Please, please, please. Let me keep you on a leash. Yes, right now you're going to see it full on because anytime I'm thinking about this lady, I'm thinking, it's hard work. This is another one. Hard work to put a relation. No, not really. No. But to be fair, Robert, come on in. Here's determined for you again. What was it? Determined. My mother, my beautiful, lovely mother, she's from Naples, Italy. And there's a saying in Naples, Italy, even a cockroach is beautiful to its mother. There you go. So I'm safe. I'm safe from the animals. I don't need anyone. I got one mom, and she's with me still. So what can I say? I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled as an inner child adult. No shame. Aren't I lucky? So this is how it feels to be able to be yourself, by the way, which is why, as a woman, yeah, no, I'm a direct shooter, and people say that we're picky. Well, I mean, selective, yeah. Again, uninteresting to talk to, undesirable, lack depth. Anyone who lacks emotional, mental, and physical intelligence, and anyone who's not I love who I am fully. There you go. You get it? So be yourself. Lovey dovey, hubby pubby. I know I went all in on this one. Have a good one. So we'll be back with more. Please be polite to each other and come on over for fun chit chat with us. Have a great one.